Okay, so I just read a few comic books or, well, graphic novels, and I decided that I'm going to review them. Alright, first up, Superman, the Man of Steel. This is Volume 1. What this story is it was basically the relaunch of Superman after the Silver Age. This was written in 1986, and what I liked about this book was, even though it did make Superman weaker than he previously was, it made him, a little more. People say that they hate his strength levels because it was just so. It was actually funny how strong he was. He was ridiculously strong. And now, well, even though he's still the strongest being on the planet, he isn't quite as strong or nearly as strong as he was. This also gave Luthor the appearance of a leprechaun, I would say, because he had red hair and, he wore green and he was short. And every character in the novel, including Superman, had blue eyes, which Superman had blue eyes anyway, so that wasn't much of a change. But, I think this was a great novel, indeed. I haven't read the sequel, but when I do, I will review it, and I really did enjoy this. If you haven't read it, you should. It'll tell you the origins of Superman. The final score I would give this, I would have to give it a 10 out of 10, or a 5 out of 5, because this was an excellent novel, indeed. The next graphic novel I'm going to review is Superman, Batman, Public Enemies. And at first I was a little hesitant to read this because my friend told me that Jeff Loeb was very, very horrible at writing comic books. But I actually have to say this actually was a pretty good one. Well, the story is that Lex Luthor became president. I have no idea how that happened. And he declares Superman an enemy of the law because of some evidence leading to the fact that he's an alien terrorist. And Batman stays on Superman's side, stands beside him completely, and the both of them are now outlawed basically. And Luthor sends the Justice League after them. A couple of the Justice League members decide to join Superman and Batman and realize Luthor is a terrible, terrible person, which he is. I also was a big fan of the artwork for this story. It was very colorful, and I liked that a lot. And I also liked Superman's personality compared to Batman's personality. It really, showed how light Superman was and how dark Batman was. I really enjoyed that. And also Superman from the future was in it, but I'm not going to give away any more spoilers about it. What I like about this book and the other book I'm about to review is I always thought that Batman always pretty much hated Superman because he just didn't like him, and he's like the one hero that did not look up to Superman. But really in this, it showed me how much Batman does care about Superman. He's his best friend, and he's always there by his side. I didn't ever realize that about Batman. I gained a lot of respect for Batman just from reading this book and the next book I'm about to review. This was a very great novel. And if you don't like Batman, you'll like him after this. My final score for this book would be a 5 out of 5, but a 9.8 out of 10. The next book I'm reviewing is called Superman, Batman, The Search for Kryptonite. This book kind of emphasized in the beginning about how Superman was, Superman, and really he couldn't be defeated by really anything, except for one thing, which we all know is Kryptonite. What happens in this book is, after Superman fights an enemy who somehow got her hands on Kryptonite, he tells Batman that he wants to rid the world of Kryptonite. So Batman goes along with it to help him, like I said in the last book review, that Batman really does help Superman out a lot in these books, and that's what I really like about him. But, Batman thinks, there's not going to be that much Kryptonite at all. Well, he was wrong. It turns out it's all over the planet now. Well, guess what? That's pretty bad, because word gets out of what Superman and Batman are trying to do to get rid of all the Kryptonite, and his enemies catch on to it, including Luthor making weapons for the government. And a brief cameo, well, not exactly brief, she's kind of a main character in it. Lana Lang appears, the pretty redhead that Superman used to date. And, she kind of causes something to happen. I'm not going to spoil it for you, though. This is a very great book. I would definitely give it a 5 out of 5 again, and I would give it a 9.8 out of 10. I don't know if I like this or Public Enemies better, but they were both great books. I recommend you try them both. They're very excellent books. I enjoyed reading them very much. The last book I will be reviewing in this video is called The Amazing Spider-Man: The Life and Death of Spiders. This book has been out for a few years now, and I've had it for quite some time. I just never got the time to read it, and now I decided, why not? I'll read it. This book made me realize how much I really... Spider-Man is still my favorite superhero, but his comic books, a lot of times, they're very boring. With Superman comics, he's always out there flying, high-flying, doing something super and amazing. And I like the light in the storyline, but Spider-Man always has something dark and gloomy, and he spends like 20 pages as Peter Parker, just Spider-Man, swinging around, talking about how much his life sucks. I really don't like that in a comic book, and if you're trying to make your day feel better, you really don't want to read that either. I really enjoy the older Spider-Man comics, because those are more for, younger audiences, and especially some Spider-Man comic series still are, but this book, it was okay, but I really liked the concept art on the front of the cover. I was a big fan of that drawing, but I really think that this book was left for improvement. I also liked there was a brief cameo by my second favorite Marvel superhero. If you know me, you know who it is. If you don't know me, well, just watch my favorite superhero video. You'll find out. I'm not going to spoil it for you right on this video. Also, it kind of tells about how Peter Parker and Mary Jane have kind of been separated for a little while, and, they go to find each other, and, of course, neither one of them are where they think they are. And, well, yeah. The villain in this kind of gave a storyline that, it made sense. It's not like it didn't make any sense, just it's kind of useless. I didn't really see any point in it. I'm not saying the book was all bad. It's Spider-Man, so of course I liked it, but the new modern age super Spider-Man, I don't know if I can really even read his comic books anymore. They pretty much bore me to death. If anyone could tell me about any cool Spider-Man comics that I might like. Overall, I would give this book a 3 out of 5. I would give it a 7.2 out of 10. I know this is my harshest review out of all 4 of these, but I was not impressed by this. I was impressed by the other 3, but this was the worst. But I would definitely recommend the other books over this. Okay, thanks for watching. Have a nice day.